Hola, welcome back to the channel. If you remember, like the content, like, subscribe. So today we're talking transfers, and I'm not talking about what transfers we're doing because obviously nothing has changed. We're still linked with the same people, still haven't signed anyone, still in the process of still negotiating, still, uh, you know, advancing on. So this is not what this video is about. This video, I wanted to speak about kind of my thoughts over transfers since I've been a fan. So since I started watching in 15, 16, my thoughts of how Arsenal do transfers, where we're falling short, and what I'd like to see kind of as an Arsenal fan. So since I started watching during the latter Wenger years, I feel like the problem has consistently been that we never ever get the full kind of team that we need. So when I first started, Arsene Wenger's team, electric in the attack. Defensively, we struggled a little bit defensively, but we all knew that what we needed was a defensive midfielder. So that's, the writing was on the wall. We needed that defensive midfielder. We had a good midfield with Ramsey and Jack Wilshere. We had a good attack. We had, your Ozil. You had Alexis Sanchez. You had Olivier Giroud. So that part of the pitch was taken care of. What we needed was someone to protect the back four. We needed someone to break up the opponent's attacks and kind of start attacks of our own. And we had that in Santi Cazorla, and then he got injured, and we just never actually replaced it. Then I feel like in the post-Wenger bit, we've always had two-thirds of the team. We've either had a good attack and a decent defense, no midfield, or a good midfield, decent attack, no defense. And now I think we have good midfield, good defense, no attack. And I think it's been a problem at Arsenal. I just don't understand why we refuse to make sure that we're stable in all three assets of, all three facets of the park. I don't understand why we do this. And now, right now at this moment with Arteta, we're begging for attackers. We're begging for a striker. We're begging for, a left winger that can help take the pressure off of Saka. But it's this. I feel like every transfer window since I've been a fan, we're always begging for that one piece to take us over the line. If we had a striker last year, do we win the Champions League? Do we actually give Liverpool a run, as far as the title? During the latter Wenger years, if we get that defensive midfield, could we have won the title? Could we have stopped Leicester from winning the title? Unai Emery, could we have won the Europa League if we had a better defense? You had guys like Mustafi and Kolasinac in there. If we had better defenders, could we have actually given an account of ourselves in the Europa League? And I just feel like since I've been a fan, it's always been if we had this missing piece. And then you look at teams like, Liverpool, when they have something missing, they go and get it. Manchester City, oh, Rodri's out. We'll go get someone to replace him. We'll go get someone to deputize for him. I just feel like Arsenal, especially recently, we need a striker. Oh, we bought a left back. We need a striker. Oh, we bought another center back that can play left back. Oh, we need a striker. Oh, we bought another midfielder. We need a striker. Oh, we bought another goalkeeper. It's never been, let's address what we're missing. And that goes on to the recruitment. So I feel as though our recruitment, even since Wenger's times, we always, if we didn't get what we needed, we always got the discount version of what we needed, and it never worked out. So I remember when I first started watching, it was N'Golo Kante. N'Golo Kante just won the league with Leicester, and everyone at Arsenal saying, go get N'Golo Kante. He's the missing piece. He will help us win the title. Look what he did for Leicester. Didn't get N'Golo Kante because I think Wenger didn't want to pay agent fees or something like that. Ended up getting Granit Xhaka. Not what we needed. Granit Xhaka was an average midfielder up until probably his last season and a half, where he got moved to a different part of the pitch, and then he was actually solid. Otherwise, he didn't really do much. He didn't. I wouldn't say he didn't do much. He didn't do as much as Conte would have done. He didn't balance the team as though Conte would have done. And then when Emery came in, I remember hearing Emery wanted Fabinho and Luis Saha. I mean, Louis Saha for Crystal Palace was amazing, and Fabinho went on to Liverpool to basically be that midfielder that they needed. And instead, he got Lucas Torreira, who lasted. I think the one thing I remember about Lucas Torreira was the North London derby. I think he scored in it. And Nicolas Pepe. And Nicolas Pepe was hefty price, and he just didn't deliver as his price tag had kind of suggested that he should. And then I think back, and you're just like, well, you could have got Louis Saha and Fabinho for probably less than what you paid for Pepe, and will we be having a different conversation about what happened in Baku if he had been allowed to get the players that he wanted? Fast forward to now with Mikel Arteta, and we've been spending a lot of money on goalkeepers, defenders, and failed midfielders. I mean, everyone knows we need a striker, and we haven't replaced Aubameyang, who we clapped and we were excited to get rid of. We haven't replaced him. And then I think of some of the signings that he's made to replace those midfield. I mean, Fabio Vieira, awful. I mean, Fabio Vieira, I don't know if you've been watching the Club World Cup, but that sequence on Messi shows exactly what kind of player he is. He nutmegs Messi, and then you're thinking, oh, he's got past Messi. All right, now he's going to go forward. He proceeds to kick the ball to absolutely no one, and it goes out of bounds. Like, you can't write it any differently. And then you've got guys like Sambi Lokonga. Now, Sambi Lokonga, I remember when we were linked to him, they were saying that Sambi Lokonga was the next Yaya Toure. That guy is awful. I watched him for Sevilla because I do watch Sevilla. Just like his friend Fabio Vieira. He'd have a moment where he's just like, oh, this guy's good, and then he'd lose the ball. He'd kick it out of bounds, and it's just like, yeah, Toure. That's crazy. Whoever sanctioned that deal, it deserves to be investigated because it was awful. And then you have like injury-prone guys like Tomiyasu. I mean, I think I've played more for Arsenal than Tomiyasu. I've never stepped on the field. He's just getting paid to be there. Calafiore, he's gotten paid more for being the kit model than to being a left back. It's things like that where our recruitment just takes so much. Like it leaves so much to be desired. And then you have our best failed midfielder, Kai Havertz, and I don't want to hear what anyone says. Oh, he bought him to be false. No, he didn't. He bought him to be a midfielder, and he was terrible. And he put him up top just like Chelsea did, and realized, oh, he can play up top, but what he can't do is he can't get you over the line. Same thing with Marino. We put Marino in midfield. He looked average. We put him up top for Kai Havertz. He looked better. It's just and it's wasted money. 65 million on Kai Havertz. Could you not have bought a striker with that? If you take the 65 million they paid for Kai Havertz, you take the 35 million paid for Fabio Vieira. What are we looking at? We're looking at 100 million that you could have paid on a striker. Ivan Toney was available. Victor Osimhen's been available. And this is the problem when I hear that Arsenal fans are like, oh, he wasn't backed, or oh, he's not getting any money this window. Well, yeah, if I gave you money to go buy a packet of crisps and a soda, and you come back to me with a bottled water and some twigs that you pulled off the tree, I'm not going to give you money again. I'm just not going to give you money to waste. And that's exactly what we've been doing. I give you 100 million, and instead of coming back with a guy who can get me a title, you're coming back with Albert Sambi Lokonga, Fabio Vieira, and Kai Havertz. And then I haven't won anything. Like, I wouldn't give you more money either. So our recruitment definitely leaves a lot to be desired. And then, kind of, finally, as far as transfers, is how we do business. So Arsenal, I just don't think we have respect in Europe. I don't think we have respect of the bigger clubs because we do business kind of like a Burnley. We do business like how I expect, Leicester now in the Championship to do. Like Wrexham to do. Like, kind of penny pinch. And I don't know if you guys have been watching the Welcome to Wrexham, but it doesn't look like they do that. Like, Arsenal we penny pinch so much when all it takes is for you to go and drop a few more million to get what you need. So infamous, the whole Luis Suarez 40 million in a pound thing. 45 million would have got you one of the most informed strikers in world football at the time. And then what? He ended up going to Barcelona and just destroying everything, winning the league, winning Champions League. Like, he ended up changing Barcelona. And when you think about it, 5 extra million pounds and we could have had that. And then you kind of look, you fast forward to now, and with the transfer saga that's going on between Sesko and Gyökeres, I feel like we're doing the same thing. Sporting Lisbon want, what did it say, 80 million euros, which is about 68 million pounds. And we're saying, oh, we'll give you 60. You give him 70 million pounds, and we have one of the most informed strikers. But instead, we're going after Sesko, scored 13 goals, and then you have RB Leipzig quoting 75 million pounds, and Arsenal like, oh, we're trying to get close to that, and it just doesn't make sense. Like, you could just go and get the guy who's informed. Like, I understand if it's who the manager wants, then fine, but you're taking a guy who has 50 goals, for a guy that has 15. You're going to pay more for the guy who has 15. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think that it's more of a, how can we flip this player? Because they're already talking about putting a release clause in his contract. And it's like, how can we flip Sesko in a couple of years? And I don't think we should be like that. We're on the cusp of winning the league. We're on the cusp of winning the Champions League. We need someone who we know can bat goals, and we won't do it because 5-6 million pounds. It's crazy. We also tend to do business late in the window, which is very frustrating for Arsenal fans. This season we had 2 windows. We had an early window. We proceeded to do nothing, but we watched Liverpool sign a couple players or get a couple deals in order. We watched City sign a couple players. We've watched everyone except for, I think it's us, Palace, and was it Nottingham Forest, I think, are the only ones who haven't done deals. I mean, we don't want to be in that stratosphere, but we haven't done anything. We haven't done anything in the first window, and it is now into the second window, and they're talking about Zubimendi. Now, Zubimendi, and this is another thing that annoys me, we're always linked to someone in January, and either we don't get them until a year later when they're out of favor, or we're linked with someone who can't or doesn't want to come here. And with Zubimendi, we knew in January, oh, we're going to sign Zubimendi. We knew that. So fans aren't excited. I'm not excited about Zubimendi. Not because I think he's not a good player. It's just, I've been hearing it since January. Like, I don't want to hear about Zubimendi again. I want to hear about a striker. I want to hear about someone exciting. Like, when they announce Zubimendi, I'll do a video and I'll talk about, Zubimendi and how I think he's going to impact the team. But I'm not going to run to the army to get a Zubimendi jersey. We've been talking about it since January. Like, I just want us to get the deal done. And it's that kind of thing that by the time we actually make sign, even Declan Rice, like, we were excited for Declan Rice, but if we had done it earlier in the window, if we had just slapped the money down, then I think fans would be more excited. We tend to wait late to do deals, and then when these players come in, they're not ready. They haven't done a preseason. They need time to embed, and this season will be vital for getting players in before preseason starts. The first 6 games are hellacious, and whatever we're gonna get in to make a run at the title, whatever we're gonna get in to make a run at the cups, we need to get in before preseason. Because if we bet them in after August, we could be looking 6 points behind Liverpool, and if Liverpool get a 6-point lead with the team that they're rumored to have, it's gonna be tough. With the team that City rumored to have, it's going to be tough. What we need to do is we need to come out the blocks firing, so we need to get in signings. And I think that a lot of fans right now are kind of worried because we're hearing that Berto was brought in to make us better in the transfer market, to make it easier for us to make deals, to give us a leg up in deals. And his first window, we're still doing the same thing. And this is why I tell fans as well, I don't think we'll see the impact that Berta has at the club until the next window or the next summer window. I think it's very hard and very harsh to kind of ask for him to come in here and basically rip up 10 years of bad transfer dealings and expect him to change it in one window. Um, it's it's a very, very hard task, because the way we've been doing transfer business from 2015 and 2016 to now, it's the same. And then you're asking a guy to come in and change everything. It's the board. I think the board are the biggest thing that needs to change. The boards are the ones who's been stopping money for certain players. They're the ones who've held out money for other players. And I think if you want to win, if we want to be that team, that Big Six team, that team that's beating the likes of City, the team that's beating the likes of Liverpool, beating the likes of Real, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, then we need to stop dilly-dallying in the transfer window. We need to actually act like a big club. We need to go, if we want Sesko, if we want Gyökeres, go to them, pay a few million over, win the title. No one cares if you paid a few million. And that's the thing as well. If I pay 45 million for a 40 million player and we win the Champions League or we win the league, I make that money back. I'll make that money back in winnings. I'll make that money back in shirt sales. We get Rodrigo right now. No one cares that he costs 75 million, because I'm going to make that back in shirt sales. Millions of fans will go to the Armory, they'll go to Arsenal Direct Online, and they will buy that shirt. You'll make that money back. And I think we penny pinch so much thinking, oh, we can't spend because of PSL. We made the most. We made more than Liverpool, but Liverpool have just broken their transfer record. So what are we saying? Like, what are we actually talking about? I think we need to stop letting billionaires off the hook for not actually investing in our club. Yes, we have a self-sustaining model. So do Liverpool. Liverpool have a self-sustaining model. They broke their transfer record. And, the biggest thing we've done is Declan Rice, which is, I love Declan. Declan's our player of the year. I'm glad to have him. But would I have spent that money on a striker, like an out-and-out striker with the team that we had? Yeah. I think if Declan isn't here and we get a world-class striker, I don't think people would be upset that we didn't get Declan. I'm glad to have Declan, but if we had spent that money on a world-class striker, not Ivan Toney, I'm talking about world-class Isak. If we had spent that kind of money and got over the line, then I don't think fans are upset that we didn't get Declan Rice. I think the club need to start now focusing on stop being so cheap, because the fans are paying their way. We have some of the highest season tickets. We have some of the highest merch. Merch drops every week. We have some of the highest tickets to go on tour. We have some of the highest merchandise. Like, the fans are playing their part. They're buying merch. They're going to the games. They're soaking up the media. They're paying. I mean, you have to pay for a subscription to see us do preseason. Fans are playing their part, and we're sitting there saying, "Oh, we have no money." So where's the money going? Where's the money that we made going deep in the Champions League? Where's the money that we've made making, second the last couple of years? I just need, when it comes to transfers, I need the board to stop doing this to fans. I think I need the board to take that money and actually allocate it to where we need to go to get over the line. And I think that's what fans are getting frustrated about. It's not just an Arteta thing. It wasn't just an Edu thing. It's something that Arsenal have had trouble with at least the past 10 years, is allocating that money correctly, allocating enough money to get the players that we need, and choosing players that will, it's not just about youth things, choosing players that will help us get over the line. You got Petr Cech, which was great locker room presence, but it's not who we needed. You've gotten players like the Lokongas and the Fabio Vieira's, when you could have just combined the money that you spent on them and paid someone who could have actually helped us. And I think that's where we are as Arsenal. I think we need to do better. So once again, guys, if you liked it, if you have any questions, comments, put them down. Remember, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time on Arsenal Talks. Take it easy.